I'm here today, Shannon Dykstra, the CEO at FYI Clinic, and I'm here with my friend, new friend, James Yeager.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for coming today. I actually want to talk about a weird little subject. Let's talk about sex, not sex. We're both married, not to each other. We have kids, we have grandkids, and let's talk about sex from the age group of like 14-ish. We have grandkids, and one day they're going to be 14 and are probably going to be coming in contact and having to make some decisions. So let's talk about that. So tell me, what is your definition of sex?
I don't know if is this G-rated? I don't know.
Yes.
No, I'm just joking around. Two people,
A lot of people, let me help you. A lot of people think when we talk about sex, it means intercourse, full-blown intercourse. Okay, the actual definition of sex is any genital contact. So when you think about that, it kind of backs you up, rewinds you a little bit, and makes you think, oh, that means touching. That means oral, anal, all these other different types of sex, okay? So let's just get that out of the water. Our kids are doing this. So not our kids, but the kids in our community are. And so the year that there was actually 2 years in a row, our most common age was 14. They weren't just playing around, which isn't okay, and we're going to talk about that a little bit too. But do you know what the average length of a relationship lasts in high school? Because we're talking like 8th, 9th graders, maybe even 10th graders here. Of course, it'd probably be 15, but do you know what the average length of a relationship is in high school?
From Friday to Monday.
Just about. The national average from 2013 anyway is 3 weeks. So say this guy gives it up to this girl. In 3 weeks, there's a good chance she's going to be with somebody else, or he is, or both. So let's talk about some reasons why they give it up at this young of an age. So one of the things I hear a lot is that they're lonely. You know, when these girls were coming to our pregnancy center, a lot of them wanted to be pregnant because they were lonely. So what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, that's a horrible reason.
It is.
And what's funny, being pregnant doesn't make you not lonely. So
that's exactly right, and that's the point I try to get across. So what can people do if they're lonely? What can these young people do if they're lonely instead of having sex?
Virtually anything else.
Get a puppy.
They won't take care of that either.
Well, that's true. But text their friends. Doesn't everybody have a cell phone these days? Don't everyone text really? And
I think it's not lonely. I think probably there's some aspect of they don't feel wanted.
That's true.
And
that's
maybe that's because they don't have a close connection with their parents. Maybe that's because they think if they have a child that finally somebody in the world will love them.
Yes.
Totally.
Absolutely. That is so true. And you know, most of the girls who come to our pregnancy center who are pregnant, most of them come from broken homes. And so they're either living with mom because mom and dad are divorced, or they're living with dad. Some of them live with grandma. And when you live with that one parent, then there's a lot more strain. That one parent has to work a little harder because they have so many bills to pay, and they're trying to make sure you're clothed to go to school and maybe even wearing a certain brand of tennis shoes or something of that nature. And so maybe mom or dad has 2 jobs. Maybe they're working all the time. You come home from school and there's no one there, and you're always just alone and looking for something. And that would be a great reason to feel maybe you're part of the problem, or you're not totally accepted, or that can cause a lot of issues.
Well, I had 2 fears, being burned alive and having daughters. And I had daughters. I haven't been burned alive yet. But
that's good.
But this is what I told them. Okay. What does every teenager, not just girl, what does every teenager want? Besides sex, what do they want? And freedom. They don't want to be told what to do, where to go, when to do those things. So the way I articulated it to my daughters, and this seemed to make sense to them, was, okay, you want freedom as a teenager. And I told them what true freedom is when you can get up and go do whatever you want anytime. Nobody can tell you where to go, where to be tomorrow, or anything like that. So the only time you have that is from the day you turn 18 until the day you get pregnant. And so you can decide as a mature young lady, you can decide how much freedom you have in your life. But you go from one prison sentence to another prison sentence, even though motherhood is wonderful and things like that. But that gap, that decision, you actually, it's the only actual real, tangible freedom that you'll ever have in your life.
But you know what the most important thing I just heard you say? You talked to them. You listened to them. You had a conversation about it. How many parents out there are not talking to their kids about sex? And when our kids are going to school and they're learning this information from their peers, they're learning it from going online, you can get a lot of false information. And sometimes you think you know what's best, but you really should talk to your parents. I mean, you really should.
Well, I didn't really have, I disguised the sex talk with a freedom talk.
Okay.
Because kids like, oh, parents don't talk about sex, the eye rolling and all that. So I didn't even try that part of it. I just went for the, hey, let's talk about what you really want is for me to leave you alone.
That works. But at least you're talking to them.
Right,
It's
exactly.
good to keep that lines of communication open.
Exactly.
Okay, so what about the line or the reason for giving it up is everybody's doing it? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, everybody wants to be a snowflake. Everybody wants to be an individual. They want to be different from everybody else, except for when it comes to actually society putting any kind of pressure on them. And what I've always found is that the weaker people are, the more they are likely to say those things like everybody's doing it and things like that. And I just tried to explain to my kids that it's okay to be different on any kind of level. And eventually, the decisions that you make will come back to you, right or wrong.
Exactly. So, everyone isn't doing it. Do you know what the national average is? It's 53.5%, somewhere in there. So 54%, depending on which statistics you're looking at. So when someone says that everybody's doing it, not everybody really is.
Well, hold on a second. What percentage of people are saying they're doing it?
Yes.
It's more than 54%.
Yes, that is true. But haven't you been lied to before?
No, I agree. But
I've been lied to. And these girls, or anybody, guys too, but we're kind of talking about girls. If you're put on the spot in a group of people and someone's saying, well, everybody's having sex, aren't you having sex? They're going to want to fit in.
Right.
And they're going to say, yeah, I'm having sex.
Well, nobody wants to be the one person. And because everybody thinks they are the one. They're not.
Yes.
We know they're not, but nobody wants to be that one person.
Yeah, because then they're going to be picked on, they're going to be bullied, and they're going to be the oddball out, and no one will want to be their friends. Kids are cruel, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
high school was like the most traumatic experience of my life.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't want to go back. So what about the reason I was curious?
I don't know.
I'm curious about a lot of things, but am I going to try everything I'm curious about? I asked you questions about a lot of things, even today, this morning when I come in. But some of the things that I ask questions about, I may want to learn about, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go and try everything I ask about. I am curious about arsenic. Am I going to try it? No. I'm curious about how drugs work sometimes. I don't try drugs either. Some people do. I get that. But just because we're curious about something doesn't mean we have to try it. I guess my biggest advice for someone saying that they were curious and that was their reason is if you're curious and you want information or you want to know about it, they should talk to their parents or somebody about it.
I actually think that most of those other reasons are really just not true. They're trying to think of something to tell this authority figure why they've done this thing, and I think it really just boils down to lack of self-confidence, and being subjected to the peer pressure and being lonely, just like this mixture of all these horrible teenage things that are going on.
Okay, so let's turn this around just a little bit. What about the reason, oh, but he wore a condom, it was safe sex, it's okay?
My daughters knew from before they were of a sexual age and before they started taking birth control, that with birth control pills and a condom, it's less than 100% effective.
It's still not 100%. So absolutely, no matter what you do. But what do we know about condoms? They slip, they break, they are just not 100% effective. But let's think about STDs for a minute. They don't protect you from all STDs either, especially if they slip or they break or something happens. But a condom, it only covers a portion, right? It doesn't cover everything. There's still skin-to-skin contact. HPV is a type of sexually transmitted disease that is not curable, and it's caused from skin-to-skin contact. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're going all the way or you're just touching, or if you're wearing a condom thinking you're protecting yourself, there's still skin-to-skin contact. And do you know what HPV is?
The disease.
Warts.
Right.
Warts. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I hear this guy will say, oh, but I saw her, I didn't see any warts down there. Well, you can't see her cervix. They start on the cervix. You can't see that. So if you're looking and thinking, hey, I didn't see anything abnormal, so it must be okay, that doesn't mean it's okay. And, you know, anything, any STD that you can get in your private parts, you can also get in your mouth and in your throat. And so these are things these young people, I don't think that they've thought about.
I policed for a long time, and so I dealt with a lot of things as a cop. But when you said anything you can get in your genitals, you can get in your mouth, some horrific memories popped up. That's what people should be seeing. That's the video. That's the video they should be watching.
Right. Yeah. I actually have some pictures probably at my office. So if you're curious and you want to see some pictures,
if you're curious about that,
I have some pictures. I can show that to you. And because you want to know, you don't want to be out there messing with something that you're not familiar with or what's going on. Now, the last couple of times I checked with our local health department, chlamydia was on the rise here in Benton County. And chlamydia is actually one of those silent ones that you can actually cure it. But every time a girl gets chlamydia, there's a less chance that she'll actually conceive later in life. And there's a chance that later, when she's much older, she may actually want to have a baby. So that was one of the things. But HPV is everywhere. They do have a vaccination for that. That's something you need to talk to your parents about. It's not for everybody, but it's for some, and they do that for males and females these days. So we offer a free abstinence program. I can come into the schools, I can come into your civic organization, I can come into Sunday school classes. I actually had a conversation with someone just a little bit ago saying, you really talk about that in your church? And we do. And you know, you need to talk to the youth groups. These people need to know what's going on, what's out there, and you need to make preparations in advance and make a decision. Do you want to live a sexually integrative life? Do you want to protect yourself from an STD or a crisis pregnancy? And if so, then let's plan ahead. And I can help with some of those planning ahead. So with this free abstinence program, one of the things I like to tell people, and this will sound a little crazy, a little probably unorthodox or what, but it's true. Think about this. If these kids, if you will keep your pants on and you keep your hands to yourself, we have nothing to worry about, right? Keep your pants on, him and her, keep your pants on, keep your hands to yourself, and hey, no unwanted pregnancy, no STD. Right?
That's absolutely true.
Okay.
Scientific fact.
Anything else you want to add?
I don't know. My head is spinning. So you know, kind of like, you know, in a kind of off-color humor, what I used to tell people is like, I had two plans for my daughters: no teenage pregnancy and keep them off the pole. You know,
that's good.
Well, I didn't aim real high, but you know, I set a standard I thought I could meet as a parent. You know,
yeah.
and the thing, you know, for the parents out there, none of us are perfect. We weren't born
right.
knowing how to be parents.
Absolutely,
we have to stumble through this, and there are any number of reasons why you should have an open line of communication with your teenagers: sex, drugs, all the other things that go on, suicide, all the other
yes.
horrible things that happen within a teenage community. There's 1,000 reasons why you should have open, intelligent,
yes.
non-judgmental conversations with your kids, and there's no reason not to.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you need someone to talk to, you want some information, remember FYI stands for your information. That's what we're here for. Give us a call at 584-1717. You can also visit our website at fyiclinic.com. You can find us on Facebook. We're out there, we're free, we're confidential, so you don't have an excuse. Give us a call. Thank you.